She was one of the most prolific composers of Baroque cantatas, and she may or may not have been a prostitute. I'm the Classical Nerd, and today we're talking about Barbara Strozzi. Barbara Strozzi was born in 1619, and was the illegitimate daughter of the poet Giulio Strozzi and one of his servants. Unusual for even the liberal Venetian culture of the era, her father adopted her as his own. The relationship was a very positive one, with her father doting on her and encouraging her talents as a singer, and even setting her up with composition lessons. She became one of the most prolific composers of cantatas in the early Baroque era. Now, a cantata turned out to be a major choral orchestral spectacle, but back in her era, these are just pieces for solo voice and a continuo instrument, like a harpsichord or a lute or some other now obscure, obsolete instrument. They were still significant pieces, don't get me wrong, but they were more like the vocal equivalent of a sonata instead of a major spectacle. She set her own poetry to music mostly, but she also was such a phenomenal singer that she also sang the poetic settings of many of the other composers and amateur musicians within her father's social circle, and she gained many of the dedications of the pieces which she premiered. She was described as the most virtuosic singer by members of her and her father's social circle, known as the Academy, and although her father founded this particular academy, she was allowed to basically run the meetings. Strozzi stuck to secular vocal music, which was unusual for the time, and the fact that she was essentially self-sufficient led many to wonder if she was supplementing her income by way of prostitution. And although no hard and fast evidence exists in either direction, there is quite a bit of circumstantial evidence, not the least of which being that she had 4 kids and never married, although 3 of them were supposedly by the same guy, so there's that. It was also very difficult for anyone to be a full-time musician. So if she were a prostitute, she would have been a high-class one known as a courtesan, who were known for their high levels of education and their ability to act as diplomats to, let's say, persuade foreign nobility. She followed Claudio Monteverdi in his conceptualization of the seconda pratica, where the most important thing about a musical setting was the ability to project the meaning of the words, not by following strict harmonic rules. And it's because of this that much of her music is incredibly expressive. Her works survive because, unusually, they were published during her lifetime, and even more unusually, they were published as collections dedicated to one composer, and not just an anthology. She died in 1677, leaving her remaining money to the only son she had that wasn't currently in a monastery. Her musical style is simple yet direct, and often utilizes expressive chromaticism to really evoke the meaning of the words that she sung. And with the rise of interest in early Baroque music, Strozzi's work has experienced a wide revival.